Tonight on 7 News, how could this happen? Overseas arrivals skip quarantine and fly to Melbourne. The bungle was only noticed by chance. New South Wales police are to blame. Also, masks off as our COVID normal rules are revealed. What life will be like this summer? A suspected gunman on the run after a man is shot dead in front of his girlfriend. Devastation for a small town as fire destroys its primary school. Plans to disband an elite army unit on hold amid a soldier backlash. Exclusive details ahead. And who's to blame for the wild weed invasion that's swamped homes in Melbourne's northwest?
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Blake Johnson starts now.
Good evening. There has been an extraordinary bungle at our border on the eve of Victoria's hotel quarantine restart. New South Wales police have confessed they are to blame for allowing 2 German travellers to fly from Sydney to Melbourne without isolating. And no one would have known were it not for the actions of a quick-thinking security guard.
We always knew international travellers would be the biggest risk to our COVID-free status, but no one expected this.
Something's gone wrong in New South Wales. Let's get to the bottom of that, and then hopefully that won't happen again.
A 53-year-old German woman and her 15-year-old son, dual nationals, arrived in Sydney from Tokyo yesterday morning. They were in the queue for hotel quarantine when they spoke to police, who thought they had an exemption and then allowed them to fly to Melbourne. Here, they made it to the car park when a security guard approached. He realised the error and alerted health officials, who finally took the pair into quarantine.
They are the first, albeit inadvertent, occupants of Victoria's reset hotel quarantine system.
New South Wales police say it was an honest mistake by officers at Sydney Airport.
They had a conversation with an officer, and during that conversation there's been a misunderstanding and a lack of communication, and it was thought by the police officer that there was actually an exemption in place.
There'll be no formal action against the passengers or the officer. Police say there was a language barrier and systems have been reviewed to make sure it doesn't happen again.
I can't really say anything further than, we're very sorry for the incident and we'll move forward on it.
But bizarrely, the federal government says the system worked.
There are multiple rings of containment within the quarantine and border system, and ultimately these passengers have been picked up within those rings of containment.
The Premier says it was blind luck the security guard spotted something wrong.
There was some good fortune there, and sometimes you need a little bit of that.
The 2 Germans have tested negative, but everyone else on their flight, VA838, landing in Melbourne yesterday at 1:25, is considered a close contact.
There is some significant challenges still for the 176 people who were on that flight.
Everyone on board, plus 5 airport staff, now have to isolate until at least tomorrow, when the 2 Germans are tested again. But that message took some time to reach everyone.
I didn't realise until I saw the news this morning when I woke up. And then, DHS just called me probably about an hour ago, about 2:30.
All this and our hotel quarantine program hasn't even officially started yet. The overhauled hotel quarantine program will formally restart in just a few hours' time when Melbourne Airport receives its first international flight since the 30th of June. It'll be a flight from Sri Lanka due just after 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. It'll be a slow start to the program, just 160 people a day. They want to make sure all the systems are tested and are working well before they ramp it up. And as we've seen from this incident in Sydney yesterday, no system is fail-safe. Blake.
Laurel, thank you. The Premier has paved the way for a COVID-safe summer with more restrictions eased and some sooner than planned. From midnight tonight, we can welcome more people into our homes and the caps for people attending pubs and clubs is lifted. And while we can't throw away our masks yet, we can breathe easy in more places.
Fewer masks and more people. The pulse of the city is quickening.
It's nice to see Melbourne almost back to normal.
Melburnians will feel normal without masks. From tomorrow, face coverings will only be mandatory on public transport, in rideshare vehicles and in shops.
Masks must be carried by everyone at all times. It's a very low cost for a very high benefit.
It's a habit many are keen to keep.
I'm still carrying my mask around and I'm a bit anxious, should I wear it and not to wear it?
We have to be very, very careful.
Gatherings at home of up to 30 people can take place from tomorrow. That limit will also apply to rental accommodation over the holidays. Outdoor get-togethers can have up to 100 people.
These changes should have been in place some time ago. Better late than never.
More bustle will return to the CBD in the new year. From January 11, businesses can welcome back 50% of their workforce. On the same day, a quarter of public sector staff can return to the office, increasing to half in February.
We've smashed the virus and now we've smashed the restrictions. Every Victorian today should be smiling.
Opening up over summer is all about density quotas rather than limits on patron numbers. The 1 person per 2 square metre rule applies to retail, hairdressing and beauty, real estate, religious gatherings, funerals and weddings, and hospitality. For smaller venues, 25 patrons are permitted before the quota kicks in. For larger venues like Beer Deluxe at Federation Square, it means they can host bigger functions and hire again.
More staff, more hours for the staff. So it's our money-making time of year. Good news.
Drinkers will be able to stand up at the bar rather than be seated. Last night, club goers in the city and Paran broke the rules. But from midnight tonight, dance floors can reopen with up to 50 people and a larger density limit. 37 days of donuts paving the way for a sweet summer. There's also a large increase in the number of people who can go to entertainment venues. The new maximum is 1,000 people for both indoor and outdoor venues. Details are still being sorted out in terms of what will be possible for crowd numbers for our major sporting events over the summer, including the Boxing Day Test and the Australian Open, Blake.
Cameron Bowe there at the MCG. And it appears some Victorians are already pushing the boundaries on those gathering rules. This social media vision comes from a protest at Hillside this afternoon. It shows hundreds of people rallying against the Indian government's new farming laws, apparently in breach of current gathering limits. A suspect is on the run after a man was shot dead inside an Oakley South apartment early this morning. The victim's terrified girlfriend witnessed the murder, which police have described as a targeted attack.
2 men led away from the crime scene, their hands wrapped in paper bags. Police needed to preserve any gunshot residue as potential evidence after a 40-year-old Footscray man was shot dead inside an apartment at 3 a.m.
It's a very quiet complex, and I was pretty shocked to learn that something major must have taken place.
Obviously the deceased was present and we have information that there were at least 3 others present and possibly a 4th.
The hunt for that 4th man saw the canine unit called in. Today the SES also joined the search, expanded to include the handgun that was used. Only 1 shot was fired, but it proved fatal.
All the information that we have is that everyone's known to each other, and we're certainly looking at this as a targeted attack. There's no information to suggest that this was random.
Inside this quarry, behind the apartment block, is a huge lake. Divers were called in with police desperate to find the weapon. Forensic police also examined the victim's ute.
It's got some deflated tyres, all 4 deflated tyres, so that has been treated as a secondary crime scene.
It's still unclear why the victim and his girlfriend were visiting the apartment or what sparked the altercation. And tonight, Blake, homicide detectives are still hunting the 4th man who ran from the apartment shortly after the shooting. The 3 others who were taken into custody, they are still helping with this murder investigation, but no charges have been laid.
Tegan, thank you. A primary school's been significantly damaged by fire north of Melbourne. Emergency crews were called to Puckapunyal Primary School just after 1 o'clock this afternoon. 22 tankers fought the blaze but were unable to save much of the building. Plans are underway to relocate more than 250 students to Seymour College for the rest of the school year. Authorities are investigating the cause of the fire. There are no reports of injuries. There are calls for the Prime Minister to step in and overturn a decision to disband the Special Air Service's 2nd Battalion. It was a recommendation of a war crimes inquiry, but 7 News can reveal the decision is now on hold as members threaten to walk out.
Graduation day at the Defence Force Academy in Canberra. Young guns marching into an army marred by allegations of war crimes in Afghanistan.
It's been a particularly difficult year, we know.
Next Tuesday, a parade was due to be held in Perth. A farewell to the SAS Regiment's 2nd Squadron, disbanded following the Brereton war crimes report.
To adjust and then re-raise a different squadron.
But 7 News can reveal the parade has been cancelled as about 60 members of the SAS threatened to quit. Some discharge notices have already been submitted.
They're absolutely outraged at this continuation of the collective punishment that they are all being subjugated to.
It's further backlash from within the ADF community over the handling of the Afghanistan inquiry and follows widespread outrage over the decision to strip the meritorious unit citation, a special award given to hundreds of special forces.
The collateral damage effect that it is having on our veteran community is enormous and not being taken into account.
Defence says it still plans to disband the regiment's 2nd Squadron when the implementation plan is fully developed, but members are now calling for the decision to be overturned.
The Prime Minister has to step in. The veteran community is hurting. Members of the Special Forces are hurting.
And crying out for support. Jennifer Beshwati, 7 News.
Residents in Melbourne's northwest are blaming their local council for the tumbleweed invasion that has swamped their homes. They've spent the day tackling the so-called hairy panic grass, but are finding it almost impossible to clean up.
It's a mess so big it's almost impossible to clean up. One of Australia's worst weeds, overwhelming dozens of houses in Hillside.
I don't know what to say, it's a disaster.
Residents helpless to stop it against strong winds. Some piled it into bags and bins. One man filled 47 large bags overnight. Today, even the bags were still on the move in gusty winds as the grass swirled and settled in more front and backyards, balconies and playgrounds.
It's in every tree, every branch. I can't even see my dogs walking through it.
Other neighbourhood pets were confused or getting used to new bedding. Darren Camilleri slowly transformed his backyard back to normal.
It's been a nightmare. Been up since 6 o'clock this morning trying to get rid of some of this stuff.
The problem is it's so light and fluffy that you can do your best to clean it up, but then a gust of wind comes and brings a whole new load back.
The council should be making sure that the farmland is maintained correctly.
I ring up every year to the council to get this burnt off and no one does nothing about it.
Melton Council says it will help clean up, although it doesn't know its source. But the weeds are largely from paddocks managed by Michael Tyquin.
I feel sorry for them, but we've tried everything we can here to control the tussocks.
He says the seeds are coming from a neighbour's paddocks and the council won't help.
I've tried to work with them for years.
Paul Dowsley, 7 News.
2 men who drowned while trying to save children on the Sunshine Coast are being remembered as heroes. The pair rushed into rough surf after the children were caught in the rip, but got into trouble and could not be revived. The 9-year-old son of one of the men survived and has been discharged from hospital. Donald Trump has ramped up his baseless claims of voter fraud in front of an adoring crowd that ignored social distancing advice. The rally in Georgia came amid suggestions his fight to overturn the election result could hurt his own Republican Party.
With a signature fist pump, President Trump leaves the White House jetting to Georgia for his first rally since the November 3rd election. Immediately questioning the count that delivered Democrat Joe Biden a win here by 12,000 votes.
You know, we won Georgia, just so you understand.
Election fraud claims rejected in court case after court case, dominant in Donald Trump's 100 minutes with the microphone.
They cheated and they rigged our presidential election, but we will still win it.
At one point sharing a lengthy montage of video clips to back the voter fraud claims.
It just doesn't add up. There's no way Biden would have won the presidency.
We're going to follow the Constitution, and Trump will be our president still.
My president has a spine and a backbone, and he has stood up for the American people, and I'm going to stand up for him.
The president campaigning for 2 Republican senators in a runoff race that could shift power in the US Congress. This as the Washington Post reports only 27 of 249 Republicans in Washington acknowledge Joe Biden won the election, and President Trump wants their names. Hours before he arrived here in Georgia, the president was on the phone to the governor, urging him to help overturn the state's election result. Party officials are worried, though, these voter fraud claims could backfire and discourage Republicans from turning out to vote at all in this Senate race.
Thank you, Georgia. Get out and vote.
In Valdosta, Georgia, Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
It was a history-making mission that came to a successful completion in the Australian outback. A Japanese space capsule making a perfect landing, carrying samples from an asteroid and potential clues about the origins of the solar system.
After 6 years in space and travelling billions of kilometres, the Hayabusa 2 space capsule is finally back home on planet Earth.
The capsule is separating or not.
After making a dramatic entrance, creating a giant fireball across the sky, this is what scientists recovered from the capsule after a perfect landing in the Woomera prohibited area, 400 kilometres north of Adelaide, early this morning. Inside, samples from Ryugu, a 4.5 billion-year-old asteroid, which will help scientists study the origin and evolution of the solar system.
I'm happy now, of course, but it's more like feeling really relieved, you know. I think we now have lived up to the expectation of all my friends all over the world.
Not only is this an incredible scientific feat, the landing also cements Australia's place as a trusted partner in space. It's hoped our help with this mission will lead to more otherworldly work with international counterparts.
We're just proud to be doing a little bit to support your team.
Thank you for your help. You had to be Woomera.
Your team has been fantastic, so big congratulations from Australia.
Thank you very much.
As for the Hayabusa 2 spacecraft, it's now off to explore yet another asteroid. Its expected arrival, 2031. Elise Baker, 7 News.
Aussie paceman Mitchell Starc has left the Australian camp, and Sean Selby is a blow for tonight's T20.
Blake Stark's been ruled out for the rest of the series, but his fellow bowlers had no dramas today, getting their first taste of the Indians in an audition for the first test. Also ahead in sport, Jaden Stevenson reveals why he's been inundated by angry Collingwood fans. And another incredible night in Formula One qualifying. Blake, we'll see you soon for sport.
See you then. Thanks, Sean. A young driver in hospital after a vicious road rage attack. Up next, the hunt for 6 thugs who ambushed him. Also, fears of drugs and drunken violence in a popular inner-city park. The Queen joins the queue for a coronavirus vaccine. And later, how Australians can help save a treasured species.
The Big Bash Fast Start. 7 nights in a row at 7 on 7.
That is unbelievable.
It's the biggest start ever, with every team in action.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
They're coming from around the world to face our homegrown heroes.
It's on fire now, Chris Lynn. Maxi hits that. That's gone all the way.
Every night, every team. Get together and get starstruck.
The title goes to the Sydney Sixers.
The Big Bash starts Thursday on 7.
Smiths, you know you love them.
Dad, I hit somebody.
Don't tell anyone, not ever.
You've got your whole life ahead of you. We decide what the truth is.
The brand new event series, Your Honour, premieres tomorrow, only on Stan.
Irresistibly smooth chocolate. Made to melt you. Lindor, by the Lindt Master Chocolatier.
Right now, you can get the LDV T60 Auto for the price of the manual. Feels good, doesn't it? The LDV T60 4x4 Diesel Auto from just $28,990. Visit an LDV dealer today.
Shoes and socks! Shoes and socks! Shoes and socks!
Willie.
Fantastic furniture. Find your fantastic.
Oh, baby, baby, feed me. Baby, feed me. Oh, feed me. us to resist.
2020. It made us stay true to what we're really for. We're for not letting anything stop them getting the early learning they deserve. We're Good Start. We're not for profit, so we can do more for children.
The spirited traveller is ready to explore the open road once more. Longing for freedom and to get back to nature, they seek out their own quiet piece of paradise. Rekindle your spirit of discovery. Sail into the Tassie road trip you've been dreaming of with Spirit of Tasmania. Come aboard. Be a spirited traveller.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
A man has ended up in hospital after being bashed by a group of thugs in a road rage attack in Melbourne's southeast. Christy Mayer joins us now. And Christy, the victim was vastly outnumbered.
Blake, the 22-year-old man, was set upon by a gang of 6 other men. He was driving in a westerly direction along the Princess Highway at Narre Warren when a car came out of a side street right in front of him and forced him to stop. He gestured in frustration at that driver, but both cars did drive on. They stopped a short time later, though, at this intersection, and it's at that time that 6 men jumped out of their cars, approached the victim, dragged him out of his seat, threw him to the ground and began punching and kicking him. The offenders fled a short time later in 2 separate cars. One was a black late model Hyundai i30 similar to this one. The second was a dark red 2006 Ford Fairlane sedan. Now, police need to hear from anyone who saw this or who may have captured the incident on dash cam. Blake.
Christy, thank you. Locals in Fitzroy North are raising concerns about safety in the Edinburgh Gardens. As COVID restrictions ease and the weather warms up, they're concerned about antisocial behaviour, glassings, assaults and drug activity. The park is a regular place for large outdoor gatherings, famously on New Year's Eve. A Christmas charity ride has turned to tragedy in Perth. 1 person died and 3 others were injured when a rider lost control and crashed into a barrier on a freeway. The bike burst into flames on impact. The riders were among thousands taking part in an annual toy run. The Queen and Prince Philip will be among the first in line to receive the Pfizer COVID vaccine, but won't receive preferential treatment. The first jabs in the Western world will be given on Tuesday, our time, but Russia claims to be a step ahead with its program already underway.
Inside the St Petersburg lab, where some of the 2 million doses of the Sputnik 5 vaccine will be made as Russia begins its round-the-clock COVID vaccination program. I feel great, this woman says. Doctors and teachers are among the first to get the jabs here, but people over 60 and those with underlying conditions won't, with questions still about whether the vaccine is safe.
Of course I had doubts, especially given that all the clinical trials haven't ended, but I decided to go ahead and protect myself with all possible options.
It's claimed the vaccine is 92% effective, but critics believe these scenes and Russia's speed in developing and rolling out a vaccine are more about politics and pride than science and safety, as Britain aims to become the first Western nation to roll out the Pfizer vaccine this week.
So I'm going to be putting it onto your upper arm.
Nurses in Coventry have been training as the vials packed in dry ice are distributed across Britain. These special freezers are being sent out across the country too. Hospital patients will be among the first to get it, along with staff at aged care homes.
It's important, and I'm pleased that I'm not going to be at risk of passing the virus on to other people, including the residents where I work and my family and friends.
But it comes with a warning. As England emerges from its lockdown, it'll take months for the vaccination program to take full effect. In London, Hugh Whitfeld, 7 News.
Back home, the man tasked with approving the COVID vaccine here has urged the community to think about others when deciding whether to get a shot. The vaccine won't be mandatory, and Professor John Skerritt from the Therapeutic Goods Administration says it must still pass rigorous safety tests before it's rolled out. He says those choosing not to get the jab should consider how it'll affect the lives of people around them.
It's not something that you're doing for yourself. It's something you're doing for the wider family and for the public good. And that's why it's so important.
The TGA is expected to approve the vaccine next month. The illegal trade in tortoiseshells is sparking fears the endangered hawksbill turtle could soon become extinct, and now Australians are being urged to play their part to save the species. That important message is coming up after sports. Estelle Greenpink is here now with a look at the weather. Estelle, it was a much cooler day than yesterday.
Well, Blake, it wasn't quite as warm, but those windy conditions from yesterday did stick around today. From a low of 13, we reached a top of 20 this afternoon. Outside now, it's 18 degrees. The city stayed pretty dry today and we enjoyed some nice sunny breaks, but overall we were partly cloudy. This was taken around midday. Across our suburbs today, temperatures hovered around 20 degrees, so a fair drop from yesterday when we were mostly in the high 20s. But I'll have all the details after sport. Blake.
See you soon. Thank you, Estelle. Plans to collect Victorians' health details in a government database. Hear why experts are concerned next. Plus, the push to convince investors to back businesses run by women. The young daredevil scaling incredible heights without a rope. And how your generosity is helping a little boy who is allergic to sunlight.
I sincerely hope someone has died.
We believe it may have been murder.
Bring me facts.
The evidence is right there in front of you.
This is my favorite part. We're off to catch the culprit.
I imagine you want to know why. Worth asking a question.
What did you think of the ending?
The ending was marvelous, moving, touching.
Well, I can't think of any other way it could have happened. Can you?
There's one place you can piece together all the great British mysteries. Here's a clue.
Hi guys, Michael Weldon here. Tonight's What's for Dinner is all about an Aussie classic way of cooking, the barbecue. It's all about getting outside, firing the barbie up and cooking for those people that you love. So tonight we're going to make a little bit of a festive inspired dish, a pork and peach skewer with a beautiful peach glaze. The first thing we need to do is start our glaze. I'm going to put a pot on, medium high heat, and we're going to add in a nice drizzle of olive oil. And then into that we're going to add in diced onion. So we're going to fry up our onion. Once that starts to soften, we're going to add in our aromats. So we've got cumin seed, coriander seed, and some dried chili flakes. Add in a little pinch of salt to help bring all the flavour together. And then we can go in with our peaches. Just chopped up, seeds removed. Now to our glazed ingredients, we're going to add just some sugar to help turn it into a nice glaze, and when it cooks to give you that nice caramelisation. And then a good splash of apple cider vinegar. Now we just want to simmer this until all those peaches are nice and soft. While that happens, we're going to make our skewers. So I've got some beautiful pork shoulder here, 800 grams, diced up. All I then do is start threading our pork onto our skewers. And then I've got some nice slices of peach and some little red onion petals. And I reckon you can agree that's a pretty cool looking skewer, perfect for the barbecue, nice, summery and fresh. I'm going to keep skewering these guys. I'm going to cook this glaze down until it's all soft. I'll blend it, I'll take these skewers and I'll meet you guys outside on the barbecue and show you how to cook it. So our skewers are ready. You can see pork, peach, red onion all on there. We've made our glaze. I've just drizzled these in olive oil, seasoned them with a little bit of salt. And all you want to do is once you've got them on the barbie, just give them a little paste with your glaze. And then every time you turn, you give them a nice little glaze until you've got a beautiful charred, caramelised glaze. 8 skewers is going to easily feed 4 people. And in half an hour for less than $20, you've got a really quick and easy midweek meal. Serve them with a little side of the beautiful, crisp baby lettuce leaves and some cucumber. Dress it with a little bit of lemon. There you have a lovely What's for Dinner dish. For this recipe and loads of others, make sure you check out coles.com.au. These pork skewers are What's for Dinner. Guys, have a beautiful festive season and, as always, happy eating.
The Health Department will soon collect patient details from every public and private hospital in the state. The data will be stored and used to give clinicians and health services a clearer picture of a patient's history. But privacy advocates are concerned the information won't be secure and have criticised the fact people can't opt out of the system. Specialist investigators are trying to establish what caused a fire in a Carnegie garage. It took crews almost an hour to bring the blaze under control.
There was an explosion, a bang of about 3 times, and the fire started and it sort of engulfed the house.
2 cars were destroyed, but residents inside the home were uninjured. Fresh violence has erupted in Paris, where locals are angry at new laws that restrict police scrutiny in the media. Dozens were injured in the mayhem as the French president came under increasing pressure to back down.
The French call them casseurs, hoodlums who caused chaos, damaging stores, torching cars and targeting police. A second weekend of protests in Paris and across France, often peaceful as thousands marched, but at times violent as hundreds of hooded agitators infiltrated the crowds. Dozens were arrested, many were injured as police used tear gas to clear the streets. French President Emmanuel Macron is pressing ahead with plans to restrict the circulation of images of police in the media and online, banning the broadcast of videos like this, allegedly showing police brutality.
I took a hit from a truncheon by a riot policeman, which broke my neck. Since then, I've been scared of police.
We're heading towards an increasingly significant limitation of freedom, which is absolutely unjustified.
The legislation is now being rewritten.
D'ordre moral.
President Macron this week denied he's limiting people's freedoms and disputes claims French police are institutionally racist, but it's doing little to quell the anger in France or the violence that often follows. In London, Sarah Greenhalgh, 7 News.
Fire has destroyed one of New York's oldest buildings. A huge blaze engulfed a historic 19th century church in Manhattan's East Village. Inside was New York's Liberty Bell, which rang to mark the birth of America in 1776. It's also been rung for the inauguration and death of every US president. The bell is yet to be recovered, but church officials hope it can be saved. A daredevil has climbed a Spanish skyscraper without any ropes or safety equipment. 20-year-old Englishman George King scaled the 33-storey Agbar Tower in Barcelona unaided. Last year, he ended up in jail after free climbing a London high-rise. A Victorian mum and dad whose toddler is allergic to sunlight say their dreams have come true thanks to the kindness of strangers. They have smashed an online fundraising target that will allow a space to be built where their little boy can play safely.
George Madden is a young boy with an unbelievable condition who's touched hearts around the world.
A bit of shock, I think.
Yeah, definitely absolutely blown away by the amount of support.
Countless people have been moved to help after hearing about the 20-month-old with a rare and incurable sensitivity to UV rays, which increases his risk of skin cancer by 10,000.
The DNA's inability to repair damage caused by ultraviolet light.
Put simply, he's allergic to sunlight, but that's not all.
We actually found out our fairy lights on our Christmas tree are emitting UV.
A GoFundMe page was set up just over 6 weeks ago. In the first 48 hours, it raised more than $45,000, smashing the initial $20,000 target. It now totals more than $80,000. Fast-tracking plans for an indoor playground where George can play with big sister Daisy, safe from the sun's rays.
A place for us to be able to spend time as a family as normal as possible and be able to ride a bike and, kick the footy.
It adds a level of excitement to a pretty glum sort of situation.
Any leftover funds will be used for George's future expenses, with hope a cure will one day be available. Ashley Kanowski, 7 News.
Female entrepreneurs are struggling to find investors willing to back their businesses. The federal government agrees there's a gender imbalance and has stepped in to offer a lifeline.
Reaching a new generation through new technology. Michaela Jade is helping students in remote communities learn from elders about Indigenous culture through augmented reality, Minecraft and coding.
I've almost quit the company 3 times and I've had to go back to being a park ranger twice.
Partnering with tech giants Microsoft and Telstra after being rejected by investors as too high risk.
Because we were female, because we were Indigenous, because we're working in cutting edge tech and because we're doing this from regional and remote communities.
It's one of 51 female-founded startups receiving government grants of up to $480,000.
Female-founded businesses really struggle to get the capital that they need
to grow. So the government has stepped in.
Also backing 23-year-old Stephanie Weiss, a biomedical engineering student helping women with breast cancer, printing breast prostheses for women who've had mastectomies, personalised to fit their bodies.
If I can change the lives of some of these women, would just make me feel so good.
The government says it's committed to helping grow local businesses to boost jobs and drive the nation's economic recovery, so Australia's less reliant on international supply chains.
It's a key part of our comeback from COVID.
Olivia Leeming, 7 News.
Almost 1 year on, a survivor of the White Island volcano eruption is sharing painful memories. A young woman's heartbreaking tribute to lost family members is next. Also, an alarming rise in youth gangs terrorising Melbourne. The underwater phenomenon breathing new life into the Great Barrier Reef, and how a teenager is advancing Australia with her unique version of the national anthem.
In the countdown to Christmas, Better Homes gave to me heaps of yummy food, festive decorations, crazy Christmas trees, and loads more ideas and recipes. We've got every minute of Christmas covered. Merry Christmas! Better Homes Countdown to Christmas starts Monday on 7.
Who will you make happy today?
La Vie est Belle, the iconic fragrance. Lancôme.
Discover your signature scent.
Since 2014, together with Oz Harvest, Woolworths has provided over 34 million meals to Aussies in need. And with your help, we want to provide 6 million more. Sharing the spirit of Christmas. Woolworths.
For a better gift this Christmas, go to your local still dealer, where you'll find tools that are hard to wrap but easy to give, like blowers and grass trimmers from only $1.99. Find your local dealer at stilldealers.com.au.
Bye, Cocky.
Bye-bye. Finally. The way I see it, you've got two options in life. Settle for what you're given, or speak up for what you deserve. Cricket. Got him! Winter is coming. See ya. Show me DiCaprio movies. You said it, Leo. Foxtel, now with voice control.
We're announcing something big. The big deal is now on at Mazda, and we're putting value on 2020 plate vehicles front and centre, like CX-5 Max from $32,990 drive away. Search Mazda offers today.
This is the Dyson Corral Straightener with manganese copper alloy plates that flex, shape and gather for enhanced styling with less damage. Dyson Corral.
Check out Catch, where everyday Aussies find the best Christmas gifts for less, like Sylvester's cologne, Stevie's Kicks, Minnie's Driver and Indiana's Ferns. For all their Christmas gifts in one spot, everyday Aussies, check out Catch.
When Jim had an accident, he gave Allianz 5 stars and helped our comprehensive car insurance claims experience get an average of 4.4 stars. To join Jim and thousands of satisfied customers, search for your quote today.
This Christmas, share succulent, award-winning Woolworths half-leg ham. 100% Australian pork, now just $9 a kilo. Helping you share the spirit of Christmas. Woolworths.
Western Australia won't make a final decision on reopening its border until tomorrow. Premier Mark McGowan says today's quarantine breach vindicates his extra caution.
It's certainly not the gold standard. This is obviously concerning.
WA closed its border to other states on April 5, but it has since reopened for quarantine-free travel from all states and territories except Victoria and New South Wales. At least 5 youth street gangs have been identified as causing havoc in Melbourne's southeast. One violent girl gang is allegedly targeting children as young as 10 to steal phones. Others are recruiting new members to take part in street brawls and home invasions. Police have confirmed they've set up Operation Alliance to disrupt and dismantle youth crime groups. Just 3 days out from the anniversary of the White Island volcano disaster, one survivor has shared heartbreaking final memories. Stephanie Broward has posted photographs online of her younger sister Crystal and father Paul in the days before the eruption. They died on White Island while Stephanie suffered serious burns. The 24-year-old wrote how painful it was to look back, knowing all three had no idea what was to come. 22 people died in the tragedy on December 9 last year. The Great Barrier Reef has come alive in what's been described as an underwater breeding snowstorm. Scientists are closely tracking the annual coral spawning phenomenon, with the reef's regeneration crucial to its long-term survival.
When the moon sets the mood and the waters are warm, Mother Nature takes over and there's sex on the reef.
Pretty much corals are having babies.
Timing is everything for this perfectly coordinated act.
When we jumped in the water last night, we were met with an underwater snowstorm of just tiny pinhead-sized bundles containing both sperm and egg.
Scientists still can't predict exactly where and when the spawning will happen.
When you see the eggs come out and the sperm come out from the rocks, you realise that it actually is a living organism.
It lasts for 3 nights and only happens once a year. The new life is essential to the Great Barrier Reef's regeneration and recovery.
The stronger corals go on to live. They sort of pass on their genes, and so it helps to provide a stronger reef.
Which is more important than ever after the reef experienced its 3rd mass bleaching in 5 years.
Scientists have called this year's event spectacular and say it's the best coral spawning they've seen in more than a decade.
We actually lost count of the amount of different species that were spawning at the same time.
Ready for round 2 tonight. Georgia Terry, 7 News.
A pre-game performance has stolen the show at last night's rugby test between the Wallabies and Argentina. Advance Australia Fair was sung in English and in an Aboriginal language, creating goosebumps and sparking fresh debate.
16-year-old Olivia Fox making history. The Australian anthem sung first in the Eora language, then in English, a first on the international stage.
I was so excited. It still doesn't feel real, you know, I feel like I'm in a dream.
The special moment still sinking in for the Western Sydney student, a proud Wiradjuri teenager, talent and hard work making for a powerful rendition.
So a lot of work goes into it, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
On backup vocals, the Wallabies, who also practiced, nailing their big moment.
There's never a question. We're very proud to have that opportunity to do it, and I think it sounded pretty good too.
As for whether the Wallabies captain thinks the anthem should become permanent,
I guess that's going to be something that's going to be discussed.
From Indigenous former Wallaby Kirtley Beale on Instagram, this was special. But not all agreed. Indigenous NRL star Latrell Mitchell posting, changing the anthem's language doesn't change the meaning. For Olivia, she sees it as a step in the right direction.
I want people to hear it, you know, I want people to learn about the Indigenous culture, and, you know, I want everyone to just unite and feel as one.
Also beaming with pride, Olivia's mum.
Forever, ever singing, ever, all the time.
Angie Asimus, 7 News.
Returning to sport with Sean Souby, and Sean, the Aussies have suffered another blow ahead of tonight's T20.
Blake, Aaron Finch and Mitchell Starc have both been ruled out. All the details next. But James Pattinson has fired the first shot with the red ball against India ahead of the first test. How a heart-to-heart conversation with this new coach could reignite Jaden Stevenson. Deja vu for the Wallabies after suffering another heartbreaker against the Pumas. And no Hamilton, no worries for Mercedes in Bahrain.
Dive in to an endless summer of stars with 7plus.
So it's fun watching you flail around in a courtroom.
1, 2, 3, 4, show me what you got.
I love you, Ally McBeal.
You know I ain't never gonna stop.
It's not like I look bad naked.
Show me what you got.
911, what's your emergency?
The shows you love.
You're a part of this family.
Plus sizzling new dramas.
You shouldn't have kissed me.
Means your next obsession is right here. Show me what you got. Streaming for free on 7plus.
4 out of 5 people who are blind don't need to be. A simple $25 surgery can restore sight. Please donate today to help carry on Fred's vision.
Every eye is an eye.
At Nurofen, we know demanding lives can cause headaches, but pain should never be in charge of your day. Unleash the speed of liquid with Nurofen's advanced liquid capsules. You do the full-on day, we'll sort the pain out fast.
Summertime is the perfect time for Light and Easy's new summer menu. Order today and you could be one of 10 customers to win $10,000 just in time for Christmas. Visit lightandeasy.com.au for your chance to win.
This Christmas, pick up Lind's Lindor pouches, 80 to 125 grams. Perfect for sharing or gifting. Now just $6 each. Helping you share the spirit of Christmas. Woolworths.
If you've been injured in a road accident, it's important to know where you stand. Talk to Australia's #1 injuries law firm. Morris Blackburn Lawyers will maximise your compensation so you can get on with your life again. Call us now. It costs nothing to know where you stand.
Here at Amart Furniture, the prices are falling on a huge range, including this stylish queen bed and up to 50% off big brand mattresses. So get in quickly. Amart Furniture, it just makes sense.
Make more of the things you want possible with Cash Converters. Life made possible.
Hello again. T20 captain Aaron Finch has been ruled out of tonight's clash against India with a glute injury, with Matthew Wade to skipper the side. Australia's bowling stock's taking a hit, with Josh Hazlewood also out, while Mitchell Starc has left the camp on compassionate grounds. It comes as James Pattinson made his audition with the red ball earlier today.
Will Pekowski had to wait. Locked-out fans had to watch a near Test Standard Tour match through the Drummoyne Oval fence. Australia's fringe paceman struck crucial early blows.
Is that the first wicket of the match? It is.
Nisa and Pattinson removed Shubman Gill and Prithvi Shaw for ducks. Two hyped young guns denied critical time at the crease. Cameron Green impressed with the ball.
Look at that carry through.
But Pujara and Rahana carried on from last tour. Plenty to ponder for Tim Payne.
Lovely shot, bit of a flourish.
Pujara fell to Pattinson for 54.
Got him, out.
That's straight into the plans for the first test, and Pattinson's ready to rumble if required.
Pattinson likes it and it's given.
And he might be needed, with the out-of-sorts Mitchell Starc now on leave due to a family illness 11 days before the series starts in Adelaide. Rahana, who'll replace Virat Kohli as Indian captain after the first test, started his tour with a classy ton. Unbeaten after a day that whets the appetite for the big contest.
It's a big appeal, it's out.
New Zealand knocked over the West Indies.
Bowled him straight through.
Victory by an innings and 134 runs in their first test. Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
North Melbourne recruit Jaden Stevenson says he's buried the hatchet with Collingwood coach Nathan Buckley and has no hard feelings despite a messy exit. Stevenson will train with his new teammates for the first time tomorrow as the Roos begin their pre-season under new coach David Noble.
As a Heart Kids ambassador, Jaden Stevenson helps Little Hearts in Need.
Strawberries for Heart Kids.
But you'd understand if he was still recovering from a broken heart after Collingwood pushed him out the door to free up salary cap space.
I have no hard feelings towards Bucks, and we've certainly just put it to rest. I'd hate to have the list management or the GM sort of job, so I feel for them and they're only doing their best also.
The 21-year-old says 95% of Collingwood players have reached out to show their support, and he's been inundated by angry Magpies fans wishing him well at North Melbourne.
They were all certainly in my corner and said they're looking forward to watching me play next year, and they'll support me all the way. Whether it actually comes, I don't know, but a few boos here and there are actually pretty funny.
Stevenson's already played golf with his new Kangaroos teammates and has met up with new coach David Noble, who wants to see him spend more time in the midfield.
Made it a pretty easy decision, being not wanted, and you're going to go where you wanted, and North Melbourne certainly made me feel that way.
Stevenson found out he had a genetic heart condition during his AFL draft screening as an 18-year-old.
Just put a little smile on their face because they've had it pretty tough, and although I'm standing here with a heart condition also, I haven't had the surgeries. I haven't gone through the episodes, the strokes that these young ones have. So I can only imagine how their families feel.
He's been taking medicine that allows him to play, and I sometimes look up to him as a hero, basically.
The Marketplace Fresh Strawberry Day has raised more than $350,000 for Heart Kids in just 3 years. The Wallabies are pleading for fans to keep the faith after yet another draw. The Aussies couldn't be split with Argentina last night, having to settle at 16 points apiece, which was their third draw from 6 matches. It was Reece Hodge who once again had the chance to be the match winner in the final 2 minutes.
Direction, it's out to the right.
As soon as he hit it, he knew it.
It has been really good, but without results, it doesn't show to everyone else. And you know, we're desperate for that.
We've got so much more in us, and looking forward to showing that next year.
The Aussies are 1 win from their 6 tests under new coach Dave Rennie. There was no Lewis Hamilton for the first time in 14 years, but Mercedes still dominated qualifying for the Grand Prix in Bahrain. Valtteri Bottas grabbed pole position, but it was his stand-in teammate George Russell who started Hamilton's car, making it an all-Mercedes front row.
Can George Russell get a pole position in Formula One? He misses out by such a slender margin.
So much to learn, getting used to the car, the seat, everything. It's just so different. It felt really alien to begin with.
Max Verstappen was third fastest, while Aussie Daniel Ricciardo qualified 7th. World Rally Championship leader Alfyn Evans all but gave up the title after crashing out in icy and dangerous second last stage of the season.
You okay? You okay?
The Italian Alps proved treacherous for the drivers, but provided a good photo op for the spectators. With coronavirus restrictions eased in London, 2,000 fans were allowed into Stamford Bridge for the first time in 9 months, and they saw Chelsea move back into the top of the English Premier League table with a 3-1 win over Leeds. Meanwhile, Paul Pogba was on fire for Man United.
Finish from Paul Pogba. That's what he can do. It's a stunning goal.
The Red Devils are now in the top 4 following their 3-1 win over West Ham. And Blake, great to see AFL teams kick-starting their pre-seasons from tomorrow.
It comes up quick, doesn't it?
Really fast, but good to see.
Thank you, Sean. Australians are being asked to give up tortoise shell jewellery and help save endangered reptiles. The illegal trade has brought the colourful hawksbill turtle close to extinction.
This majestic hawksbill turtle, prized and hunted for its patterned shells, is critically endangered. A raid on this warehouse in Vietnam uncovered 7,000 poached for their tortoise shell.
The international trade of endangered turtles has been banned since 1977, but illegal trade of turtles still continues.
Hawksbill turtles are found in Asia-Pacific oceans, in Australia, north around Melbourne and Lizard Island. But almost 80% of their population has been decimated for combs, glasses, jewellery.
We're asking people to surrender their shells.
A campaign led by WWF Australia, the Australian Museum Research Institute and Royal Caribbean International will use DNA technology on products to identify poaching hotspots.
The DNA from the bracelets and trinkets will allow us to understand where those turtles came from, so we'll be able to identify the most vulnerable populations.
The Australian government has given the public 6 months until the 1st of June 2021 to surrender their tortoiseshell products, and there'll be no prosecutions. Go to the WWF Australia website for more information and how to send your tortoiseshell back. Helen Wellings, 7 News.
Estelle is back with the forecast. Estelle, have we got a return to sunshine tomorrow?
Blake, not quite, but warmer weather is forecast for later this week. I'll have the details next.
He's trying to protect the most hunted man in the world, Ryan Reynolds. Denzel Washington. Safe House. Tonight on 7.
Go fast. Or go slow. Go imagine your journey. Go up. Go down. Go around the long way. Go directly. Or go off on a tangent. And sometimes go where you least expect to. The X1. Go there.
With a unique, all-inclusive guarantee that covers the frame, fabric, cushions, everything, this Amart sofa is built to survive anything. Almost anything. Amart Furniture. It just makes sense.
We're looking for 3,000 new recruits. If you like equal pay and generous leave, you're more suited than you might think to join Victoria Police. Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.
After all that we've been through, I will make it up to you. I promise to.
Gippsland Dairy Yogurt. The taste made me do it.
For a better gift this Christmas, go to your local Still dealer, where you'll find tools that are hard to wrap but easy to give. Like chainsaws from $2.49 and battery mowers from $3.99. Find your local dealer at stilldealers.com.au.
You want me to help you and your buddies to beat up your grandsons because the two of you can't live in the same house? I'm in.
I want my room back!
The War with Grandpa in cinemas now.
There is still magic wherever you are. Cherish those golden to us this Christmas. Fragrant hazelnuts, smooth velvety chocolate. Say it with gold. Ferrero Rocher.
Money Magazine congratulates La Trobe Financial on being awarded Non-Bank Lender of the Year. La Trobe Financial led the category in product range, innovation and loan quality. We recognise they help in ways traditional lenders don't, and that's worth reading about. Search La Trobe Financial.
Can one little light bulb change the world? That depends on how many of us change one little light bulb. IKEA. Morning. Hi.
Don't let hay fever control your life. Choose Telfast, Australia's #1 allergy brand from Chemist Warehouse. It provides fast, non-drowsy relief from hay fever symptoms. So shut the door on hay fever and open up your world with Telfast.
I saw them. I knew they were gone.
The most powerful story of the year.
Half your family in one go.
What you will see will touch every Australian.
These 4 kids are special.
7 News presents In the Blink of an Eye. Next.
This weather report brought to you by Telfast, available from Chemist Warehouse.
Hello again. We've had a much cooler day today, but there were still some gusty winds around, and tonight a severe weather warning remains in place. In the city, from a low of 13, we reached a top of 20 this afternoon, and outside now it's 18 degrees. Today's winds weren't as wild as yesterday, but it did get pretty gusty at Mornington Pier. The highest gust there was 54 kilometres per hour. Overall, the day was partly cloudy with some nice sunny breaks. We could get some showers later tonight. Across the state today, there were showers mostly over the southwestern ranges. Temperatures were lower than the December average, ranging from the teens to low 20s. We did see some damaging winds continue in some areas, though. The strongest gust was 130 kilometres at Wilson's Prom early this morning, and there was a 102-kilometre gust at Mount Hotham. There is a severe weather warning in place tonight for damaging winds for these areas in yellow. The SES recommends staying indoors and securing loose items. The wind should ease in the west later tonight and by tomorrow morning in the east. On the satellite, and a low-pressure system south of Tasmania is extending a cold front towards the Bight. That front will reach our southwest later tonight and then cross over the rest of our state early tomorrow as a high-pressure system develops over Western Australia. Around the nation tomorrow, in Sydney's looking lovely and sunny. Brisbane will be very warm, but they could get a thunderstorm or two. Adelaide will get an early shower or two. They'll stay cloudy all day, and Perth stays dry and sunny. To Victoria, and there'll be scattered showers over most districts, particularly in the afternoon. A cool and partly cloudy day with fresh westerly winds.
Closer in, there could be showers and even a thunderstorm in the early morning and then again in the afternoon and evening. In the city, from a low of 11, we should reach 18 degrees. There could be up to 10 millimetres of rain. To the 7-day outlook, on Tuesday, the southeast suburbs and the Dandenongs could see some showers in the morning and early afternoon. Suburbs in the outer southeast could even get some small hail. But we dry out on Wednesday. We're expecting a mostly sunny top of 24. There could be a morning shower on Thursday. It'll be cloudy, a top of 18. And then on Friday, it's back to dry weather, partly cloudy, a top of 21. Next weekend's looking lovely at this stage, a top of 27 on Saturday and 29 on Sunday. So we do have sunshine to look forward to by the end of the week. But tomorrow, showers increasing, possible thunderstorms in the early morning and then later on. From a low of 11, we should get to a top of 18. So, Blake, probably not the best day to do your washing, and I would definitely bring an umbrella.
All right, good tip. Looking forward to the sunshine next weekend. Thank you, Estelle. And that is 7 News for now. Thanks for making us part of your Sunday night. For now, from the 7 News team, have a good night.